Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Poketpair and Palworld versus Nintendo and Pokemon. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, Nintendo and Pokemon are suing Palworld and Poketpair because of patent infringement. We've talked about this one in the past, and if you have been paying attention, you may want to buckle up for this news. So this comes right from Poketpair's website. Poketpair are the makers of Palworld. They say, as announced on September 19th, 2024, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo Company Limited have filed a patent infringement lawsuit against us. We have received inquiries from various media outlets regarding the status of the lawsuit, and we would like to report on the details and current status of this case as follows. So the plaintiffs, who are Nintendo and Pokemon, claim that Palworld, that was released on January 19th, 2024, infringes upon the following 3 patents held by the plaintiffs, and are seeking an injunction against the game and compensation for a portion of the damages incurred between the date of registration of the patents and the date of filing of this lawsuit. So here are the 3 patents: 7545191, 7493117, and 7528390. We'll cover these in just a second, but take a look at the application dates for each one of these patents. July 30th, February 26th, and March 5th, 2024. After Palworld was already released. And they're looking for 5 million yen plus late payment charges to the Pokemon Company and 5 million yen plus late payment charges to Nintendo, which I think is about 65 USD give or take. Now, I could be wrong here, and if I am, let me know in the comments below. I mean, I've been wrong about stuff in the past, and I've got no problem admitting when I'm wrong about something. But taking a look here, these are the 3 patents that I think Nintendo and Pokemon are suing Palworld over. And looking at them, I personally think they're not going to hold up. I mean, I don't think they'd hold up in the US, maybe in Japan, who knows here. But let's read each and every one and you'll see why I think that way. Now again, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the patents: game program, game system, game device, and game processing method. To provide a game program, game system, game device, and game processing method that can cause a player character to perform various types of actions on a field in a virtual space. That to me is super vague and covers a whole lot. And now here's the solution. In a first mode, the aiming direction in the virtual space is determined based on a second operation unit, and the player character is caused to fire an item that affects a field character arranged on a field in the virtual space in the aiming direction based on a third operation input. And in a second mode, the aiming direction is determined based on a second operation input, and the player character is caused to fire a combat character which engages in combat in the aiming direction based on the third operation input. Now, some people may look at that patent and say, you know what, that's the ball throwing mechanic for Pokemon. It's simple, it's straightforward, and they can completely see why Pokemon would file a patent for it. And I would heavily disagree with that statement. It seems like it's so much more based on the description. They say, conventionally, there are game programs in which a player character throws a ball at a character in a virtual space, capturing the character and setting it in the player character's possession. However, in the game program disclosed in the above-mentioned non-patent document, the ball can only be thrown to capture characters during battle, and the ball cannot be thrown on the field. Therefore, an object of the present invention is to provide a game program, a game system, a game device, and a game processing method that enable a player character to perform various types of actions on a field in a virtual space. This seems far more comprehensive than just throwing a ball. Now again, I could be misunderstanding all of this, and if I am, please let me know in the comments below. But taking a look here, and this one screams at me, such as firing an item that affects a field character at a targeted field character on the field, and firing a combat character that engages in combat with a field character on the field, by inputting an operation to cause the player character to fire an item at a targeted field character on the field. So in my opinion here, this is far more expansive than just going after Palworld. This is basically firing an item at any targeted character on the field, which could be anything. That could relate to Monster Hunter, for example, and throwing something at a monster. I don't know here, I could be wrong. Again, I could be misunderstanding this. Another patent here, and again, I could be wrong with this information. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legal expert, and I'm not a patent expert. But this one says, simulating properties, behavior, or motion of objects in the game world. Example, computing tire load in a car race game using determination of contact between game characters or objects. And the third patent, computing the motion of game characters with respect to other game characters, game objects, or elements of the game scene. Example, for simulating the behavior of a group of virtual soldiers or for pathfinding. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, or all of these three in the comments below. Am I missing something here? I might be misreading these, but taking a look, and they seem super vague as well as super broad. Now, if my understanding about this is correct, I've got no idea how these patents were granted, and I've got no idea how they would stand up in the court of law. I mean, I would assume that they would be easily overturned because I think there's a whole bunch of games out there that would violate these said patents. And the dates on them being after Palworld was released, well, that's also a problem in my book. Again, I'm not a legal expert. I don't know a whole lot about this stuff. It's just based on my observations. And I also don't know how things are held in Japan versus in North America here. So Japan, this may be absolutely fine. Who knows? If you know, let me know in the comments below, and let me know your thoughts about Palworld winning against Pokemon in the comments below. Do you think Pokemon's going to take this one? But moving on from that, and next up, we're quickly talking about custom Adreno drivers. So if you've got a Snapdragon CPU with an Adreno GPU, more than likely in your mobile device, and you use emulators that accept custom drivers, you might be excited to know here there's brand new Mesa Turnip drivers available. At the time of filming, version 25.0.0 revision 1 is the latest update here. And with these custom drivers, some work better in certain emulators with certain games on certain devices. I think it's truly hit and miss here. These are free, these are open source, and if you're curious, like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. Next up, we're talking about the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, and if you're a fan of the Mega Drive or Genesis, you may be a fan of this news here. This is the tweet. Unbelievably, 35 years after its US launch, there are enough new games coming for the Sega Genesis that it can be hard to keep track. And now you don't have to. I've launched the Mega Drive Tracker, a site that catalogs all the new physical releases coming to Sega's 16-bit console. And here is the website, Mega Drive Tracker. Now, it's worth pointing out that this is for physical cartridges only, so not ROM hacks or homebrews that aren't seeing a physical release. And if we take a look, there's a bunch of different games out and a bunch of different games coming out. For example, a bunch coming out in December. December 2025. So this is well in advance. This is next year. Additionally, they're tracking games that have already released. And if we scroll down here, the earliest one goes back to September of 2023. Next up, we're talking about the PS5 Pro and scalping. And it turns out the scalping landscape for the PS5 Pro is not that lucrative. Here is the latest headline from Video Games Chronicle. Lack of PS5 Pro shortages means some scalpers are reselling at a loss. Instead, it's the disk drive that's being sold at higher prices. Now, I could be wrong here, and I'm no expert, but it does seem the general availability of the PS5 Pro is what's really backfiring for the scalpers. Supply is exceeding demand. And I don't know if this is because Sony made too many of them and people just aren't there to buy them, or if people are just not interested because the price is $700. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and well, let me know your thoughts about the scalping situation for the PS5 Pro in the comments below as well. Are you disappointed scalpers are not getting their money? Next up, we're talking about Outlast. Now, Outlast was released on PC back in 2013 here, and it's got an overwhelmingly positive review score over on Steam with over 87,000 reviews. This game has been very well received. And you might be excited to know that prototype footage of this game has been leaked. Now, if you're interested in Outlast, let me know your thoughts about the game in the comments below. And if you've seen the prototype footage, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Right now on YouTube, there's a number of YouTube channels, I think, that are showcasing this footage. And it's about 14 minutes and 14 seconds long. Now, taking a look at the comments on that video, and someone asks, what different other than some UI and sounds? And someone says a lot of stuff. Animation models, Chris looked completely different. And someone says this was the E3 demo from 2013. And the person who posted the video says, it's not, it's footage of every area in the game as of March 2013. Now, I've got no idea if this early prototype footage is a playable demo out there online somewhere. I'm assuming it is, but I could be wrong. And speaking about leaks, next up we're talking about Google and Jarvis, and it turns out that Google may have leaked their AI assistant codenamed Jarvis a little bit too early. It's being reported that Jarvis appeared on the Chrome web browser extension store and was marketed as an AI assistant to browse the web with you. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that Jarvis was functional. It required some sort of administrator access in order to work, and only some people were able to download this before Google took it offline. But I guess it's coming here, and I'm going to assume it's something similar to Microsoft Copilot. I don't know here. We'll have to wait and see on this one and see how it's functional. Next up, we're talking about an interesting game that's on Steam and the PS5. It's called The Devil Within Satgat. This is a 2.5D Metroidvania style of game. It was released in early access back in April of this year. It's got a mostly positive review score over on Steam here, and they've just announced this game will be fully released November 21st. And apparently sometime in 2025 it will be released on the Switch. And taking a look at some of the reviews here, I used hours played as a guide, and this person says very good combat. They've got almost 40 hours in. This person says great game. This person says it's just that good. I haven't played this one yet though, and I think I might. I'll maybe give it a try. Next up, we're talking about a very interesting conspiracy. I guess you can call it that. From Metal Gear Solid 3, a game that was released like 20 years ago. Anyways, people were wondering who voiced Eva. And it turns out here, this person speculated like 8 years ago. Jodie Benson, the voice of Ariel from Disney's The Little Mermaid, wishes happy birthday for her favorite big boss. Does this confirm the theory that she's Suzetta? Now, for those who may not be aware, Suzetta Minet, I think that's how you say that last name anyways, was given credit for the voice of Eva in Metal Gear Solid 3. And no one knew who Suzetta Minet was. Now let's look at the comments on that Reddit post from 8 years ago. This person says, the tweet was very weak to go on. However, I believe it was her. Not because of this tweet, but because of this clip. And this person says, this sounds exactly like Eva. That does sound like Eva. It could be her. And this person says that's a pretty weak tweet to go on. So just a couple of days ago, Konami released the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Series Part 3. And within that part, it is confirmed that Jodie is the voice. If you are curious about this one, if you're a Metal Gear Solid fan, I do recommend checking out this video. It is super interesting. In fact, there is Jodie. And last up here, if you're a fan of King of Fighters 98, a fan of body monitors, and have something like $15,000 laying around and you wanted to spend it on something that's related to body monitors and King of Fighters 98, well, I may have found the perfect thing for you, because that's exactly what this is. This is some sort of very expensive body monitor that you can play King of Fighters 98 on with a touchscreen. Now, based on my understanding here on Google Translate, pre-orders for this one started on November 7th. So if you've got a whole bunch of money to throw at this, you really wanted one, and I guess shipping won't be an issue for you. There might be some logistical issues with shipping on this. Then, well, here you go. There appear to be a few other items as well. One tracks your steps, and this one here, it's two different versions of the same item. Measures the moisture in the air as well as the temperature and the time. I might actually be interested in that one, provided it would ship to Canada. We'll have to wait and see. And last up here, we're talking about 8BitDo. And if you saw those 8BitDo mechanical keyboards before, but you wanted a numpad integrated into it, well, 8BitDo seems to have listened to customer requests. They're releasing a 108 mechanical keyboard with 108 keys and integrated numpad, and it's going to cost about $120. It is releasing on December 12th. And just like the original release, there's two different colors here, one based on the Famicom and one based on the NES. I really wish they released a SNES one, specifically the multicolored button SNES one. I think that would look absolutely fantastic. But who knows here? Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.